in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho. Thank you for being here. And we are going to talk about open houses, believe it or not. How about that? There's doing an open house, and then there's doing an open house. And that is what we are going to unpack today. If I can somehow pull up everything here. Let's see. First things first. What is the main goal of doing an open house? Right? What's the main goal of doing an open house? Well, really, the truth of the matter is some say to sell the house. But the reality is, I'll be honest, when I was doing open houses, guys, I may have sold a handful of homes based off of the people who've come to the open house. But guess what? I sold a lot of properties when those folks came, and then we sold them other houses. So it's all about who you meet at the open house, right? So it is all about how we make those connections. How do we get them to know us? How do we get them to like us? How do we get them to trust us? So if meeting people, creating a rapport, knowing, liking, trusting, and ultimately trusting, the most common outcome is how do we get people there, right? That's the whole goal, is to try to get people driven back to the open house. So before we really unpack this entire thing, I wanted to tell you something here really, really quick. So there's a saying I use quite often: not all agents are created equal. Let me say that again. Not all agents are created equal. And what I mean by that, here's how I was taught how to do an open house. Are you ready for this one? Jeff, grab some open house signs. Jeff, make sure you go to Hallmark or Albertsons or Smith's and get a couple balloons. I was working for a different company. They have two letters, WK, but you can put them in the proper order. Get a sign-in sheet. Grab some additional MLS data. I did find that to be very, very helpful. And bring a book, because you can get bored from time to time. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? She goes, sometimes people don't show up. I go, well, isn't the whole point to get people there? And she goes, well, you can't force people to come to an open house. I said, oh, okay. So that, guys, is how I was taught how to do open houses. Guess what we're not going to do? That. Okay. So bear with me here. There's two really different things that I want us to unpack here. There's sort of the admin piece to all of this. And then there's the actions affiliated and associated with driving people back to the open house. So step number one, always preview the house. Always preview the house. Even if it's your listing, make sure you're going there in advance just to make sure that everything is good to go. If you've never seen the house before, or you're hosting it for a listing agent within the office, it's probably a good idea for you not to walk in for the first time 15 minutes before your open house. And we're going to talk about the timing of that as well. So if you've never seen the house before, do yourself a favor, take a little bit of time, go through, walk through some of the different rooms, find some features in darn near every room, right? Whether it's new flooring, new lighting, new paint, new countertops, all of those different things. Make a list, have those notes ready to rock and roll. Secondly, if it's not too big of a hassle, have the sellers have the home professionally cleaned prior to the open house. Why is that important? I don't care how well it's priced, how awesome the house is. If people walk into a filthy home, that's all they're going to remember, okay? So have that house professionally cleaned prior to. Arrange for the sellers and pets to be gone. Like, I love dogs just as much as everybody, even though I'm allergic to them. But nobody wants to hear the dog scratching from the garage, the dog barking in the backyard, all of that when people are at an open house. It's one thing to have the neighbor's dog barking like crazy, but if you can have those pets, those dogs, those cats, those birds, right, out of the house, do yourself a favor. Make sure you have your keys arranged, whether you're using a lockbox or just the seller or the listing agent's going to give you the keys. Make sure you guys have that stuff. Make sure the damn things work prior to, right? Is there anything more stressful than walking up to a house and the key not working with people behind you? It's a scary situation. At least it was for me. It gives me anxiety. I'm sweating already. Enlist a mortgage company, right? We all have our favorite preferred mortgage lenders. Have them come in, have them help out, print out some cool flyers talking about the rates, what it actually means from a monthly payment now more than ever, right? People only hear 777. Well, what does it actually mean to my mortgage payment? You'd be shocked at how different that price point is, and it's not as daunting, right? As far as like a monthly payment. Stage the house if possible. If it's vacant, kind of tricky, right? So you got to lean on the listing agent there. But if it's not vacant and you're just like, why haven't, what? Like, guys, it's okay to move some stuff around, put it underneath the sink, just put it back before you leave, all right? Make it look very, very homey. Have backup houses to show. Have backup houses to show. What do I mean by that? If you're in a neighborhood and there's 4 other listings around in that price point, or just in the neighborhood, people are going to be coming to you. But be the expert within the marketplace. Be a piece of knowledge that they just don't necessarily always have, and be like, oh, well, what drew you out here today? Oh, great, that's wonderful. Are you looking at any other properties within the area? Oh, that's funny because there's 3 around the corner. After this, would you like to maybe potentially look at some of those? So have some of that data, have some of those talking points, make sure that you have all of that stuff lined out. Take it one step further, right? Last 90 days, 60 days, 180 days, how many have sold, how many have come on the market, have some of those statistics. And if you don't know how to figure out that statistic, ask your local managing director or call me. I love numbers. Have a nice flyer, right? It's one thing to print something off from the MLS, but leverage our marketing team, leverage the templates that they've already done within IQ or back at you, excuse me, I still screwed that up. Leverage those flyers. Okay, they're there. It's easy to print off. And then lastly, again, going back to having some backup houses to show, have that data for them. Have that data for them. Be able to speak intelligently about it. Don't necessarily just, oh yeah, 124 Banana Street sold for $622,000, right? Be able to rattle that stuff off, okay? Rattle that stuff off. If you have to put it on a little 3x5 card that you just keep in your pocket, or like some of you guys, when you were in school, you were writing notes and the answers on your hand, do the same thing. I don't care. Do what you got to do. Cool? Awesome. So that's the admin piece of all of this. Now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. This is where we truly separate ourselves from everybody else. And by everybody else, I mean everybody else. It wasn't until 2018 that I figured out how to do an open house. I'd been in the business at that point for 16 years, been in the industry, been selling real estate for 12 before I figured out how to do an open house. And the only reason I found out how to do an open house was because I had a conversation with Todd Conklin on how to do an open house. And he told me about this 10-day plan. I said, what the heck are you talking about? Yes, Jeff, in order to do a proper open house, it's a process. That's why I love processes. I love systems. It's a checklist. Well, but did I actually do some of these things? So if you guys have never seen this, Carrie, will you please make sure all our managing directors have that at their fingertips? The 10-day open house plan. 10-day open house plan. 10 days from the open house. Some of you guys decide to do an open house on Thursday and you're going to do it on Saturday. Or Friday, I'm going to do it on Sunday. That's not 10 days. Do it the following Saturday. Do it the following Sunday. Guys, I'm just going to rip through this thing really, really quick. 10 days out, create a Facebook event and boost it. Create advertising on Instagram on a cool feature in the event. Send out printed invites. Now, some people are like, well, why would I do that? Well, if you want people to be going back to this open house or to be attending this open house, guys, you got to invite them. You got to get them there. But remember, this is part of your resume. Okay, let me repeat that. This is your resume to the entire neighborhood of what it is that you're going to actually do when you do an open house, when you list the neighbor's house. This is the expectation that you are setting. You are raising the bar. So any other agent that goes in there, like, yeah, I'll do open houses. Well, tell me more about that. Well, yeah, I put balloons and I put a sign and I get here 15 minutes before the thing actually starts. And, I pray that some people show up, but, I got my cell phone just in case so I can stream NFL Sunday Ticket. I did that, by the way. So I'm just doing it for you, right? Like that's sort of what they do, right? 9 days out, post video of the property exterior, put it on Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media platforms, send out an e-marketing drive that again, drives back to the events page of your website, right? You're trying to drive traffic back to your website. You're trying to drive traffic back to the folks for the open house. 8 days out, you're going to post a video of the property, the key feature, what you think is the key feature. And it's okay, guys, to do this. Hey, I'm live at, or I'm standing out in front of 124 Banana Street. I can't wait to see you next Sunday, next Saturday. Here's one of my favorite features. 7 days out, this is where it gets awesome, guys. And by awesome, I mean awesome. We're going to go knock on doors. Jeff, why would I knock on doors? Because you want the damn neighbors to show up. Why do you want the neighbors to show up? Guess what? Who lives next to a weird neighbor? I didn't get to pick them. Now I want to pick them. Have you ever had a chance? Have you ever wanted to pick your neighbor? Invite them. Come see me at 123 Banana Street. Post interesting features of the property. Guys, see what we're doing here? We're knocking on people's doors. We're getting belly to belly, face to face. We're leveraging and utilizing social media, all of the different platforms, guys. This is, again, part of your resume. This is a part of your digital footprint. 1 hour worth of circle dialing. Well, what am I going to say? Guys, it's pretty simple. If I wasn't able to knock on your door, I want to make sure that you still get the invitation. You still get the information. And we are going to get to that circle prospecting or circle dial script here in a second. 6 days out, we're going to knock on 20 doors with the personal invitation script. We're going to place the ad in the newspaper. We're going to enter the open house into all the available sites, including Distinctive, Realtor, Zillow, etc. And then we're going to do what? We're going to circle prospect again. Guys, you see the theme here? Day 5, same thing. Day 6 or day 4, email the announcements to your entire sphere of influence in your CRM. You're probably going, well, why would I do that? Guys, one, they might have somebody who's moving here and you haven't talked to them in 9 months. 2, you're showing them, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing for all my other people. Just remember how amazing I truly am, okay? And 3, lastly, it's just, hey, it's good just to catch up. And now I have a bit of real estate information to bring to your attention. Again, posting videos. Make sure you have your swag lined up, your rate sheet lined up. Again, some of the admin stuff, you have to be doing this stuff also in the meantime. Again, 1 hour worth of circle prospecting. 3 days out, same thing, 20 doors, post video, circle dialing. 2 days out, do a final walkthrough, just like we were talking about before. Make sure that the house still looks pretty good. Dogs, like maybe the dog hair is kind of swept up and maybe the walls are pretty dirty, like wipe them down, all that kind of fun stuff. And then the day of, get as many, and I mean as many open house signs as humanly possible. A lot of the times, right? If we're here and we've got an intersection around the corner, we might do one off the main street, off the side street, whatever. If Todd was on here, he would say, put them all over town. You're like, well, why would I do that? Because all over town, what are they going to see? They're going to see a temporary billboard with your name on it, with Distinctive Properties names on it, all the different things. Jeff Renevier, open house. Well, that's 7 miles from here. It doesn't matter. It's still a directional arrow. Keep following this. All of those things everywhere. Yes, thank you, Todd. Oh, you're here. Hi. Stage the property perfectly. Tour is followed exactly. It's a script, the way you walk, the way you talk. That's why we're pointing out certain things. At the end of the event, record and send a short thank you video to the seller, to the people who came, all the different things. Subscribe all the attendees, because we should be using the, believe it or not, guys, there's an electronic version of a sign-in sheet on Back At You. Just use it. Bring an iPad. And then enter any and all notes into your CRM. Okay? So there's your 10-day plan. We got it. You don't have to think about it. Now, here's the thing. Try your absolute best not to deviate from the plan. I'm telling you, this is better than what you would do. And it's already done for you. Already done for you, right? So just follow it, because there's a difference. We've seen a massive difference within our Bozeman office. We've been talking about open houses for quite some time, hammering this in our weekly meetings, in our trainings and all that stuff. The agents who just sort of put the thing out and a couple balloons that get popped by 10, 15 minutes into them being fully inflated, they pop. Right? So now we got nothing. But if we were door knocking, if we were circle prospecting, we're inviting the neighbors, right? We're doing all of those things. So now you're probably going, well, how am I supposed to invite these neighbors? That's a great call. Here's your open house call script. Hey, Carrie, it's Jeff Renevier with Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. How are you today? Wonderful. That's great. Hey, listen, this is more, think of this as more of a public service call. This Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be hosting an open house at 123 Banana Street from 11 to 2. Typically, Carrie, what that means for you, there's a good chance there might be a couple slower cars driving through the neighborhood. They're looking around. They're kind of rubbernecking, but you're going to see more and more open house signs, just balloons, that kind of stuff. So one thing I've started doing is inviting the neighborhood to poke their head in first. So I'm going to have it open from like 10:15. Come before the public at 11. I would love to meet you. If you can't make it, no big deal. But worst case scenario, if you have any questions or concerns, I just want to make sure you have my name and number. Just give me a call and I'll be happy to help. So you didn't ask to sell me anything. You didn't ask if I knew anybody. You just simply invited me to an event. Yep. Oh, okay. Cool. Great. So whether they come or not, guys, what are you doing? You're planting a seed, right? You're building your resume. You're doing all the different things that we say we do, or even their previous real estate agent says they do, and they stay on top of them, right? Or stay top of mind. But guys, they're not. They're not. Because it's that little drunk monkey on your shoulder that says, you know what, if I call them and invite them, that's just weird. That's just weird. Why would I do that? They already live in the neighborhood. Guys, things happen. Things happen. Whether maybe they had kids graduate or they just found out they're pregnant with twins. Like they might need more house. They might need to downsize. They might have somebody moving to the neighborhood, right? You're just simply offering them information that they might not be privy to. And even if they are privy to it, they're not comprehending it. So then after the event, you're probably going, okay, well, now what do I do? I had 13 people come through. That was amazing. That was awesome. We had so much fun. And I got 3 leads out of it. But Carrie didn't show up. Shucks. Next day, Carrie, it's Jeff Renevier with Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. I wanted to make sure you didn't have any problems with the traffic from the open houses this weekend. Everything okay? No one parked in your driveway or anything like that? Great. Listen, we had quite a few groups come through. In fact, one of the best ones we've seen in quite some time. I know open houses are back. It's wild. Listen, did you have any issues or concerns with the additional traffic in the neighborhood? You're good. Everything was all right. Awesome. Listen, the sellers are very, very, very helpful that we're going to see an offer come from some of these folks that came through. So maybe, just maybe, you're going to have a new neighbor soon. So I'll keep you posted on what's going on. But again, if anything, any issues, you have my name, you have my number, just call me. Again, we didn't ask for the business. We didn't ask to list their house. We didn't ask if they knew anybody. We just simply said what? I gave them a recap of what was going on. I gave them a recap of how we were progressing, why we're doing some of those things. Again, people like to see people working. People like to see people who are hustling. People like to see all of those different things. Okay, so make sure that you're constantly in just doing it on a consistent basis, because I'm telling you, this is the only way to do your open houses. The only way to do your open house. So I know I ran through a bunch of stuff really, really quickly. It's not rocket science. It's just following a process, doing the things, checking it off the list, making sure you're ready to rock and roll. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you guys try to take some of this. Try to take some of it. If anyone's doing an open house this week, take the last 3-4 days of this and just cram it in there. Friday, Saturday, just hammer it out. Okay? It's better to have something being done than nothing at all. All right? So if you can only knock on 50 doors, knock on 50 doors. If you can only circle prospect 25 houses, circle prospect 25 houses, and make sure you guys get your buns there way early. Because guess what? Even if the ad says 11 to 2, how many times have you shown up and someone beat you to the house? That's embarrassing. Don't do that. So give yourself a little bit of time on the front end. And by little, I mean 45 minutes to an hour. Give yourself a little bit of time, half hour, 45 minutes on the back end. Just tell your spouse, I'm working today. I know it's Saturday. I know it's Sunday, but I am working today. Hope that was helpful. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you, and have an amazing, amazing weekend.